It's said that everyone has a skeleton in their closet. Uh, I have a graveyard in mine. You open up my door, and the bones of years of turning down wrong alleys will come rattling out and lay at your feet like brittle branches of a tree slowly dying. The maps and designs of how these skeletons came to be are buried in more than 100 places throughout my path. I began writing when I hopped my first freight train back in June of 1964. I began burying my thoughts in that month, in that year. It was a fleeting thought, really, which became a personal ritual. I wrote all of what I seen and felt and experienced, and then found a proper place to bury it. There was no thought of preserving it. I didn't find an airtight box or anything to protect my restless ramblings. That was not my intent. My thoughts were to dig a hole, and sometimes I would make it like a burial site, rigging a cross of sticks and weeds and scattering stones to mark it. But many times, it was just a hole dug with the edge of an empty can, papers folded tightly and shoved to the bottom, then just covered with nothing to mark its place. It was kind of like my Kilroy was here scrawl, except in the ground and instead of on some filling station's bathroom wall. Most of what I buried was written in some empty diner's corner booth or under a bridge trestle or under a highway overpass. Most of it was crap. Quickly scrawled notes about a bizarre, dangerous encounter from a guy who picked me up. Most of my writings, though, were just about how I felt being on the road. I wrote about being hungry and the kind waitress I met who served me a meal knowing I didn't have the money to pay. The long cigarette I pulled from a theater lobby's sand-filled ashtray. Little things. That's why I loved the boxcar. An open boxcar door was like a whore standing in the doorway to a sex-starved salesman. And like the whore, you had to pay a price. There's no free rides on the road. My heart and soul is buried everywhere in every state the path took me. I wish the hell I could go back and reread my thoughts. Somewhere out there, I might have buried the secret to life. Someplace buried a half foot down in the soil lies the decayed and decomposed, rotted remains of the dreams and schemes of a restless soul that may hold the secret to what this whole damn thing's about. And I buried it. Sometimes I do wonder what I wrote and left behind. I must have written something good sometime. From the wild and straight 66 over and through the Colorado mountains, I suppose I have buried me in 100 spots. My foolish thoughts will live forever in the earth of this country. That's something no published author can say. It is also fitting that my writings decayed and melted back into the ground where I'm destined to do the same. Maybe someday my ashes will mix with the withered and forgotten feelings of the young man that once thought it was profound to leave himself in the ground. Now, wouldn't that be something? I don't know what comes after all this. I don't even know what any of this damn thing they call life is about. I just know that after all these years of living, I haven't learned a damn thing. Everything I ever learned, I buried in the ground a long time ago.